OCP. This is Dr. Bailey and
Miss Lee.
and today we are broadcasting, I guess, or recording from our morning coffee with the counselor and admin today. So we have some of our amazing parents here with us, asking some questions, and we have few topics of interest that we'd like to talk about, and then we'll open the floor to everybody else. So. I think, Miss Lee, did you have some specific things, or do you want me to jump in?
You can go ahead and get started. Okay. I'm going to talk about some events that we have going on for our parents and students to participate in the next 2 weeks. So I'm trying to get that list going, but you can go ahead and take the floor for right now.
So there are a couple things we're gearing up for. This is the busiest time of the year for our office staff, because not only are we preparing for or closing up this year. I know it sounds weird to think that we're closing up, but for our mind and how we operate as a school, we're in the end, right? We're in the second half, we're racing downhill. And what I'd like to say in secondary school is that you need to get everything you want done that's new done before spring break. And then once spring break happens, it's testing season. For a high school and a middle school, we have the state tests that happen at the middle school, and for one grade at the high school. But then as we grow more into the high school, more and more advanced placement exams that are the first 2 weeks of May will sort of take over our May. Right now we are only offering 2 advanced placement exams, and they actually happen to be on the same day, I'm pretty sure. So it's not all consuming to us, but that is something that's a big preparation, because students study all year to pass a 3-hour test, which we can talk about the merits of AP versus college classes if we want to, maybe later on, but both are beneficial to students. It's just a balance of the two, and so that's the kind of the approach that we take. And so that also, in the meantime, right now, between now and spring break, Miss Lee and I are counting. We've done already course registration with the students, so we have an idea of what they'd like for next year. We're going to do another registration event that includes parents and students coming up on March 5th. And then we also need to start doing our master calendar for next year, believe it or not, with PTSA. We also have to do our bell schedule, which we're fixing for next year. And in fact, would you guys like to see a draft of that? Okay. So I'll go ahead and point out, oh good, I'm already projecting. For those who are just listening to the podcast, I'll just point out some of the differences. This is still a draft version, so there are some inconsistencies in times, but if you want to really just look at the Monday, this is what you'll see a little bit more often. There's still a few things that we need to fix, so this is a draft day, but we're still doing what we call a flex schedule, which looks like basically we have the best of both worlds, the best of a regular schedule day and the best of a block schedule. Block schedule are long periods that allow for classes like science to do really cool experiments and labs without having to constantly change and reset the lab every 50 minutes. And so they allow for cool experiments, debates in English and social studies, things along those lines. But come on in. But we do also need some of our curriculum pieces need to meet every day, such as PE and math. Both of those subjects will benefit from daily meetings. And so that's why we have something called flex scheduling. So this is what our bell schedule looks like. Essentially, period 1 happens the same time and it overlapping as period 1A and period 1B. And so that's how we make it work together. So we have basically different units of time for different subject areas. So next year though, so that's the basis of the schedule that we've been working out this year. But one of the other tensions that we really wanted to make sure we did was fold in clubs into our school day. So that's why this year we have differing schedules. We have club week and regular week, and then it's a little bit wild. But what we've noticed is students, I know the schedule because I made it with my team, so it's in my head, but even staff struggle with, wait, what period is it today? What comes first? And in fact, some of our staff members, Miss Wynn, in particular takes it upon herself to take a picture of the schedule and put it on our staff chat just to make sure we're good for everybody. But so what we really strived for this year, and I worked with a small committee of our teacher teams to really kind of smooth out the schedule so it was consistent weekly. And so what we have now is basically what we'll have is a Monday, and basically we'll have the same schedule we have now, but every Thursday will be the all periods day. And then what we have now, or what we will do, for the club schedule, is on the last Friday for the last 45 minutes will be clubs every other week. So that way we're not changing the entire schedule. It's just a special carved out time. So that way it's consistent every week. Kids will know what always Wednesday is, what always Tuesday is, what always everything is. And I know this is a complicated spreadsheet to look at because we have to calculate something called instructional minutes, and so to make sure that we're fitting. The other key feature that you're going to see is we're going to separate out something called mentoring from SDL. So SDL is sort of their homeroom period where they complete work, but mentoring is also supposed to happen during that time period. And what we're finding is SDL is sort of like struggling to exist with mentoring. So the teacher, while they're supposed to having a one-on-one mentoring conversation, is also trying to approve focus area assessments. And what we really want to do is clean that up and make sure that mentoring is purely just working one-on-one while the other kids are quietly working on other assignments.
Just a quick question.
Sure.
Is there an assistant in the SDL class?
Some of them are.
Because that's going to be difficult for one teacher to handle everybody at the same time and doing double duty,
Well, that's why we're cutting out the double duty. We're singly purposing it to just mentoring. And the kids, of course, can work on their projects and they can start studying for focus area assessments. And focus area assessments will happen somewhere else in a different time period. The other piece is it will happen every day for a shorter amount of time. And we're actually going to increase the number of teachers that have a mentoring period so that we can decrease the number of students in the mentoring period so they can get to them weekly. That's our goal, is to have a one-on-one meeting weekly with your mentor. So right now we can promise it happens every 2 weeks, barring crazy schedules like 4-day weeks and things like that. But that's the idea. And then we move our electives to the last period of the day for 45 minutes. So they get to do things. The electives for next year will be, again, ASB and yearbook, and film studies. Those are 3 that we're going to have already. But we're also going to add next year, no, not cooking. Oh my gosh, that would be so popular. We would do, we don't have the facilities, unfortunately, to offer a true class, and you have to have a specialized credential for that. And so we're not there yet. But the other ones that we're going to add are esports and robotics. We're going to take those away from being clubs and make them full-on classes so we can advance their skill level at a better rate rather than waiting for every other week where we have clubs. So
what will be offered as clubs then?
No. What will be offered as clubs? So that we're going to open it up now for students to create their own clubs more. We've kind of kept a tight lid on it. We've said this is what your clubs are. For one exception we made was the cooking club for the high schoolers. But we have to limit it to only 10 students, and we can't offer it as a club because we don't have a teacher that's credentialed in that, so they couldn't get credit for it. So the state of California, we have to report our credentials and the courses that we have, and they have special coding, and if they don't match, we get flagged. So
So you don't let the students create their own club?
yes. So we'll still have art club, we'll still have theater club, and cooking club, of course, because it's popular, but then we'll let the students do some other ones. We need to add like an honors program, like National Honor Society, things like that. But it, we need more people and more time to do it all. But yeah. Okay, so that's the Bell schedule in a nutshell. More mentoring. The SDL, I don't have anything prepared to show you what it will look like. We have ideas right now of how we'll fit it back in. but we need to go through some more iterations before it's really clean for us to show you what we're thinking. So, all right. With that, I'm going to toss it over to Miss Lee.
Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about our events that we have coming up in March. I'm so sorry, I'm having allergies right now, so my voice doesn't usually sound like this. Okay, so I'm going to take it over and start with our registration note that Dr. Bailey was talking about. That's going to take place on March 5th at 6 p.m. I think it's going to be right here, right?
Yes.
In the staff
Oh,
lounge?
well, I think we're maxing
In
it
the
out at
testing.
20, so we're going to
Okay.
have to be in
Yeah.
Miss Miller's room, which is the first classroom.
Yeah, so we actually will be going over to Miss Miller's room.
It was, we did this last year and we limited it only to 8th graders because it is a focus for getting into, we focused it primarily for high school, but we're broadening it a little bit more, but it is designed as a workshop. So you're not just coming and receiving information, you're gonna fill some stuff out. You're also gonna get a really good experience, like rave reviews for our 8th grade parents that came last
Yeah,
year,
it was
right?
really
They felt like they were so much more knowledgeable about how to navigate the requirements of high school and middle school, because there are tricks to it and it's complicated. We at OCP make it simple for you, and we also want to make sure that you know why. We'll just say this: school is a bureaucratic business, and there are reasons sometimes, unfortunately. And I don't mean this to diminish any other schools. I've been proud members of different schools and school districts, and the places are good for kids and good for parents. But there are other factors beyond your child's needs and interests that impact what they offer for you. And you need to be able to wherever you go, we'd love it if you stayed for us for high school, but wherever you go, we want to make sure you're knowledgeable about how to navigate that. And the families that have stayed with us and the families that have had to leave for various different reasons have all said, oh my goodness, I now know how to go in and advocate for myself. I now know what I need. And what our job is, we're passionate. We're giving you the insider look on how to navigate it. And when you go away from us, I mean, this is why a reason to stay with us, but when you go away from us, it is this big like conveyor belt that they just push your kid on, and they just shove classes down your schedule and just fill you up, and they just go next. Because we will always be a smaller place that doesn't do that, but even as we grow, we don't have grand, plans to be 3,000 strong. I think our max in my executive director's current plan, bless you, is to go to about 800 students for OCP at large. So that's not big for 7 grade levels. And so we'll always have this sort of, small personal one-on-one component, but other schools won't. So, and if you choose not to stay with us for high school, you need to know what the questions to ask and how to break the barriers, and honestly, how we think we're better than everyone else. We're not for everybody, but yes.
So if we're planning on staying for high school, is this a meeting we should still
Yes,
attend?
absolutely. Absolutely.
It's a presentation that's going to be really beneficial for you to know, like, the difference between all the universities, all the schools, all the colleges.
Oh, so we're going to university.
Yeah, and, even, military plans, options, if that's, something that you want to talk about.
So we start with the big picture, which is
Yeah.
college and career readiness, and then we go down to what that means for you now, both in middle school and in high school.
Yeah. We touch on requirements like A through G, the college application process, and anything that you have for us, like, we can tackle. But we're going to talk about all the classes too that we're offering at OCP next year, so that way you get to take a look at what your child is going to be in next year, what classes, what the offerings are.
Our student can come too.
Yes.
Yeah, your student. Yeah,
We
I
encourage
would
your students to
recommend
come.
it.
Yep.
He already knows where we're going to college.
Yep.
But,
Yeah, all the students have already sort of made their registration, schedule already with me, but that can be changed pretty much before May, I would say, because I'm gonna start plugging in their schedules pretty quickly.
Yeah. This is, I mentioned we did the master calendar, but we also do something called the master schedule,
Yeah.
which is this giant, It's this, I mean, it doesn't look pretty, but this is what it is. It's the giant board that we
Coffee's
make.
ready, by the way.
Yeah.
So help yourself.
Yes. They're for hot
Yeah,
water.
yeah, you can take
yeah.
those.
Yeah.
Do you want
Um,
hot water?
Is this hot water?
No.
Nope, that's
hot
coffee.
water. I'll get it for you.
You know what, actually just use water. Just use water.
It's to the left, right by the refrigerator.
Right.
There you go.
You're good.
Um,
It's hidden. And if you want hot water, it's on the left.
I see that too. I'm good.
All right.
Thank you. Keep
No
going.
problem.
Okay,
So-
this is our master schedule
For this year.
and it's gonna look different pretty much every year until we have.
This is basically what we build. It's like a giant puzzle. It's my favorite time of the year. I study for it by like doing puzzle games on my phone. I'm kidding. I don't. But it is just something you stare at, and just a big puzzle piece that we put together. Yeah. So that's what it looks like this year. We'll do probably something pretty similar, but fix the things that we didn't like this year. But yeah. Okay. So that's March 5th.
That's March 5th at 6 p.m. in Miss Miller's room, and we'll post up about that again soon. Actually, I have a flyer that's being worked on.
Yes. Yeah. That'll be pushed out pretty soon.
And then March 7th,
Mm-hmm.
we're having another movie night on campus. It's gonna go a lot differently than the one last time. I know Morgan's mom was there last time, and it wasn't horrible. It was just really cold, and the screen wasn't working. We were having technical difficulties, but this time we have heat lamps that we're ready to bring out. And if it's really cold or raining, we're gonna move it into the classroom. So-
After seeing that one, we made some investments that helped for the play, and so we made some investments deliberately to make any winter night events that we have more comfortable.
Yeah.
So
This is a prom fundraiser, by the way. So if you do attend, our prom committee is going to be working it this time, and we're working really hard to make our fundraisers worth it, to make sure that we can have that investment that we need to make our prom really, really worth it. So this is one of our prom fundraisers that the students, our committee, came up with.
Miss Lee's being really humble about it, but she's really taken prom on. And last year it was Miss Lee, Miss Brown. I've forgotten her last name, so I can't call her by name, but Ashley, Chandler, and Sadie's mom. Roberts. Okay, Kelly. I thought that's what I was wondering. So then we and Mrs. Casas-Rubias from our staff, and Kelly and myself, and just a little bit, kind of the whole staff really pitched in different little aspects of it. Made our most successful event all year, which was the prom last year for kids. And then this year, what Miss Lee has done is really organize the kids to take leadership and ownership of it. And so they're hustling pretty hard to make it cost effective. So the more money they raise, the cheaper the tickets are for all of them. And so, and they're even doing things like they're even being entrepreneurial. We had some students sell some, what is it called?
Frescas con crema.
Yes,
Yeah.
Frescas con
It was like a
crema to the
strawberries and
staff.
cream fundraiser. One of our juniors, because she learned that the prom ticket's gonna be $100 or more. So she was like, I'm gonna start fundraising now. So she, along with two other high schoolers, made this it's like a Mexican dessert, strawberries and cream, and they made $300 right here last week.
We didn't sell it to students because it's homemade.
Yeah, it's homemade.
But we're good for adults just
But
eating what we want to
will
eat.
be flying again. Yeah, we'll
So,
be flying again.
yeah.
We knew, yeah.
Well, but
I would've given them
but when we sell, when they do homemade stuff, we're not really allowed to do like official public stuff. I know, but
what's the difference?
I think we can keep it general. I think I agree. I think we can post it and maybe keep it general to saying that we're doing like a dessert fundraiser.
Maybe.
You know, something.
maybe it's a rule that I've been other schools may break that rule, but it's a rule that has been like pounded into me in multiple schools and school districts that you don't do homemade stuff, and it's killed fundraisers.
Yeah.
All the stuff we also weren't allowed to do. We used to make, when I first started teaching, we used to make so much money on after school food fundraisers.
Mm-hmm.
We had kids who, for a project for mine, they were raising money for City of Hope, and they made waffles and ice cream. They made like $200 off of one event, but they that's state law. They won't let you do it a certain time until after school gets out.
So that is our movie night. We have Princess Bride, and then next month it's gonna be Knives Out. So wait for that for the next Coffee with the Council. I release the date. But for now, it's Princess Bride. It's a prom fundraiser. We are super excited. The kids are tackling it on, and we do have heat lamps.
Yes. And tents
Yeah.
with walls.
I don't want anyone to be traumatized from last month. If anyone was traumatized, it was honestly me. So
No. I forgot to tell them that you don't plug in a heat with any other source or it will blow the light. I should have told them that before I left, and that was my fault. So
that next week, that same week, sorry, movie night is on a Thursday. So the next week, it's gonna be my other wellness activity for the month. This one, I'm going to be doing friendship bracelets with the prom. And I'm actually going to be working with Mrs. Griffith from last time. She was here at the last Coffee with a Counselor. So she's going to be helping me and assisting me with that project to make sure our students are doing a prompt along with making a bracelet. And it's perfect because next month is International Women's Month. And I think if we lead with International Women's Month along with the friendship bracelets, I think we can pair it up together somehow and make that a bond. March 18th, it's going to be our first date for our NWEA spring testing, which is
we're going to move that back. I'm sorry, I need to delete that from the,
We moved it to
April,
right? Okay. Both NWEs.
Yes.
Okay, so Swallows Day Parade is my next event then. March 23rd, Swallows Day Parade. It's going to be, if you haven't, who's gone last year?
No, yeah, everybody's either new or didn't make it.
Okay.
Couldn't make it. It was epic.
Yeah, it was super fun. So Swallows Day Parade is a day where the city of San Juan Capistrano celebrates, and it's like a whole event. Like you literally cannot even get off the freeway. I had to walk from the freeway last time to the school because the traffic was crazy. But our school participates by making a student-designed float. So our float is made by parents, students, Dr. Bailey, Mr. Holt, our staff pitches in, and our float comes together, and we bring that float into the parade along with 100 other participants. So anyone in the city can participate as long as it's a float, but it's unique because it's not a driven float. We literally have to drag the float. Yeah. What is it known for? It's
It's a push float.
A push float.
Yeah.
So,
non-motorized.
Non-motorized. That was the word I was looking for.
And that's part of Swallows Day attraction. They are a non-motorized parade.
Yeah, non-motorized. So, just throwing it out there. If you guys want to come, participate, or even just watch.
Cool t-shirts.
Cool t-shirts
yeah,
coming.
we
Yes.
made t-shirts last year. They were cool. I think this year's gonna be way cooler.
We're gonna order them.
Yeah. But
We had some funny pictures of them making their t-shirts. We made them last year. We made them protect their uniforms by wearing trash bags. It was great pictures, and they had fun doing it. But they had fun making aprons out of their trash bags. But this year we're gonna order them, so they looked cool last year, but they'll last longer this time. Like my shirt, my Comet's kind of faded, but yeah.
Can you post some photos on
From
Parents
last year?
Square so that we can get an idea?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like we need more posts on Parents Square,
Okay.
Sure.
or even photos when you're doing your bracelets, or
Mm-hmm.
Alan came home with a squishmallow. I'm like, what? Can we have more photos?
Sure.
I'll
Sure.
try to
When
post
you guys do
more.
things here, so
Sure.
we can see instead of asking 30 questions.
Sure.
You know? and-
Okay.
You're getting answers actually?
Asking like 30 questions.
The Lunar New Year celebration went really well. That was what we did
Yeah,
last
I had no
year.
idea.
I posted that. Remember?
No, but I had no
You did?
idea how, what you guys
Oh,
say
okay.
with
Yes,
photos.
I have photos actually. I
Yeah.
need to upload them, so I'll be better at that.
Something like
Yeah.
that, on a daily,
Okay.
like a
Yeah.
daily post.
What else are you looking for pictures of? Swallows Day as
Just
well.
whatever you guys are doing
Just whatever.
in school,
Mhm.
if there's a pep rally, you guys had a pep rally, and I said, Alex, what was that about? I've never been to one. By the time you explain, bandana, this and that.
Chaotic fun.
Right.
That is what a
So
pep rally
there were
looks
no
like.
photos, so I have no idea what you guys did.
Sure. I mean, yeah. I think we
Mr.
can,
Holt
we can
cracking a lot of jokes with the
Yeah.
microphone.
So that would be cute to see, in
Yeah,
photos.
sure. We'll post some more pictures of what we're doing.
Sure.
And I do have to post the Lunar New Year activity.
And
meant to do
I
that.
meant I went to sleep instead of posting the dance photos, but I will post the dance photos on
Yes,
yeah.
I missed that. I know.
Yep.
Maybe we do like an all month post or an every week post.
Something like that.
Oh,
When
things
we
like
have an
that.
event, we'll start to post things. It's a little. I'm going to be honest with you. When they're in middle and high school, there aren't as many cute pictures. Like, they're just not. It's like, oh look, they're on the computers. Oh look, they're on the computers. Oh look, they're discussing and then typing on their computers.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're doing these great, cool arts and crafts
No,
pictures.
but like whatever events she's had.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
definitely.
Things like that, or the pep rally.
I'll do like a
Whatever.
midweek post today or something about like just the events
Yeah.
from last week.
At any other school, it would be, oh look, they have their textbook open. I mean,
I didn't mean that way. Like, you know,
But
what
yeah.
events you guys are doing. So now you guys
Yeah.
are doing the bracelets. That would be
Yeah.
nice, you know.
Yeah,
Like you did it for the stones.
yeah.
the
So
rocks.
that was
Yeah,
nice. That was
Sure.
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yep,
Well,
fair
this-
enough.
Yeah, I'll put something up today because I do have the pictures and they look good, so I meant to post
Whatever
them.
fun things you guys do for the day.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I know we're already at 9:02, so I'm going to wrap it up. International Week is on. It starts on March 25th. It's basically, I know I wasn't here last year, but I know it's like a week-long celebration of like
That's right, because we switched
food
the order.
and
Yeah.
culture. I think the staff dresses up, and then food. We have food here.
So we'll do it a little different than we did last year. What we want to do is just move the celebration to a night event so that all families can come. But last year we did it in October, and it was during the school day. So, and what we're doing is we put out a post to see if some of our families who own restaurants would like to come in and do a little taste of. We have like 4 or 5 families. If they wanted to do that, they're more than welcome to do that. Make a little cash for themselves as they do. We will also book a food truck. I think we might have already done that. I'm not sure. I'll double check on that. And then we're already getting some performances. Just our students will perform, our drum line will be performing, and we'll have some other little performances planned. And so just kind of a really cool event. And the school looks so cool. The kids wanted to keep the flags up last year, all year. So what we did last year is ask people to donate. One of the cool things we think about America is that we all have multiple heritages, right? And so we asked people to donate their flags from their country of origin. And so we have on PVC pipes all the flags ranged all up and down the campus, all along the fences, and they're just flying proudly all week. We also had, last year we had a big poster of the Statue of Liberty, and this year Miss Gleason with some art students are going to actually make a big wooden, like a outline wooden one and paint it Statue of Liberty. So, it'll be a really cool event and week, and there'll be dress up days through that. And then the last day, so Thursday will be the night, see the world at OCP in the evening from about 6 to 8. But so if you have people that you know that would like to come to this kind of event, it's open to the public, welcome to come. And then we also have the next day we will take all the kids to the San Diego Zoo to see the different ecosystems of the world.
Yep.
And the different animals. Yes.
And then lastly, we have the Comet celebration
Yes.
on March 28th.
So that same Thursday, busy Thursday.
It's going to be pretty busy that whole, it's going to be the Swallows Day parade, it's going to be International Week after that, and then the Comet celebration.
Yes.
Yeah, the Comet celebration this month, we're celebrating courage.
For that March month. But next week, we're finishing the celebration of compassion, which we had Kindness Week, I think it was a week or 2 ago. And then Compassion, Comet celebration is actually the 29th.
Okay.
Did I say Compassion? Yeah. Compassion is the 29th, which is next Thursday. And that'll happen, we'll switch the schedule to have SDL to happen in the morning that day, so that that's when the ceremony will take place for half an hour. We'll also do academic ACEs then, and we will also be rolling out something that is new this year, a new school tradition that we're going to call the Honor Guard. And so the Honor Guard is based upon their cumulative GPA, and we'll announce what that is at the Comet celebration, and then we'll make a post afterwards for parents about what it looks like. And so essentially the honor guard will be the students who are the top performing students in each grade that go into and sort of preside over promotion and graduation. So
That's pretty much what I have for the whole month of March. If you have any questions or you want to look at the dates again, please come follow up with me after. Otherwise, I think we're already at 9:07.
one thing I did want to mention before we end was we don't have an official like here's the grades at quarter 3 and rolled over to their permanent record, because we are a mastery based grading system. But we do want to make sure that families, and we'll put out a post there, that the sort of the time is passing and the quarter 3, which is the halfway mark between semester 2, will officially be ending on March 8th. And so we're hard at work in our team internally, looking and monitoring students' progress and catching students that are falling behind and getting them up to speed and making plans to put them up to speed. But it is the time where they need to get they need to get up to speed before spring break happens. We also have students who didn't feel like they passed the first semester in their classes. The timeline for them to make up for that semester is spring break. They have to have everything done by 3/22. Otherwise, the grade stands as it was. And also, we've allowed that opportunity for students who want to improve their grade from like a B to an A or whatever. They also have until 3/22 to be able to do that. And so that's something that we need to we're trying to really make it into their frontal, into the first part of their consciousness to be able to be aware of what's going on. Okay.
Is there a like a teacher-parent conference type of thing?
There usually isn't in the secondary world, but what teachers have done, what they're required is if any student, at any point, if a student falls below a C into an F, they are obligated to communicate directly with that parent as soon as they become aware of it. So it's more one-on-one and direct rather than a big conference. Yeah.
I just had a quick question. The OCP experience and tour, that's for new families coming in.
It is, yes. It's mostly geared. We've had tours for all sorts of families, and we'll accept anyone who wants to come in that day. Just drop in. We ask for reservations if possible, just so we have an idea. But it's really, we're trying to capture the interest and respond to some of the requests from the Yellow Band at Ocasa Elementary. So it's being heavily advertised there, and we just advertised it with us just in case you wanted to share it with your neighbors or whatnot. And so it'll be pretty cool. We'll do a good, Miss Lee and I will do a presentation, and then we're going to tour to different classes, and teachers will have a small activity or presentation in each classroom. So, yes.
Do you have any trips for grade 9?
Thank you for asking. So we have a trip right now that is going to Florida, but I think it's too late to join it overnight. Trip to Florida, is that accurate?
I don't know. I mean,
Florida where? I have a house in Sarasota. You're welcome to stay.
Oh my goodness, that'd be awesome.
we're doing Disney World and like the Kennedy Space Center.
Okay.
Can I volunteer to help?
You can,
You can sign up to chaperone if you'd like.
well,
Chaperone?
but you'd have to pay for your ticket
Yeah.
though, unfortunately. Like,
The thing is,
I'll
though,
volunteer
it's
for
it's pretty small right now. There's only 4 kids going.
we
and
had,
myself.
yeah, we promise, so we'll have some more field trips that are coming up in the year beyond just the zoo. We are going to do some other things, like the film studies class needs to go to Universal Studios. They do their annually. But and there's a couple other trips that I don't want to commit myself to for the dates until we're for sure.
We're planning.
But there is the overnight trips. We were just talking about what to do for next year because they're expensive. So the overnight trips are between $2,800 and $3,600 per kid, which I mean, we all know that a family vacation, you could probably do a family vacation for that cost. Or a little bit more, right? It depends on how effective you're doing it, right? The thing that we get out of the World Strides is we get everything sort of prepackaged and planned, and they have a team of people looking for cheaper flights, looking for cheaper hotels. They have the food vouchers already done. They have a night security guard that's watching them and making sure they're not switching rooms, you know. So it's just, there's a lot of things that go into that is pretty great. But we know, we've heard, I think, feedback from families that it's expensive. And so we're debating about, we like having one every year because we think it's great for the kids and we want to continue to provide that for every student. But we're wondering, so what do you guys think? What's the word on the street? What do you feel about overnight trips that are expensive?
If we know about them ahead of time and we can budget for them,
Yeah.
that would be good. But I know, like, for myself, like, I've never been to the East Coast. I was Florida. I've been to Disney World. But,
Sure.
like, I haven't been to, like, Washington, D.C. So when they do that trip, I want to go
That's
too.
a high school
My
trip.
husband will want to go.
Yeah.
DC
So-
and New York are definitely spots that I think we're gonna continue to bring back because it's just so important that they visit DC. So
Mhm.
that's definitely a destination that's probably not gonna change. We're just thinking whether or not we bring it back every year or every 2 years.
Or even Sacramento. You know, there's a Sacramento trip.
Yeah, that would be cool
Washington,
actually.
D.C. Yeah.
Mhm.
I-
No,
I-
Sacramento's not a bad idea.
I think if the parents know about it at like way in advance, like in the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Even
About
the year
without-
before.
Even before, well, because, you know, like,
Mhm.
Morgan's school last year had away trip
Right.
to Cali.
Right.
That was, I mean, that wasn't like thousands.
No, yeah,
But it
yeah,
was still pricey, so
Right.
and I planned it, I planned it
right,
and budgeted, so that when that time comes, you know, it's
right.
ready to go, so.
So that's what we did last year. We announced the trips that we were going on last year, and because we're small, it's a challenge. At the middle school, it's not. I feel like we fill it up pretty decently. We don't have too much of a problem. But if we can't fill up like a bus ourselves,
Yeah.
then we have to go with another school, and sometimes our dates get changed because of that. So the West Coast STEM trip that we're taking the 8th graders on in a couple of weeks, which goes to Yosemite, San Francisco a little bit, but also Monterey Bay, aquarium, and different things around there, very sciencey focused. So is Florida as well, with Disneyland thrown in, or Disney World.
You are in the Animal Kingdom. So.
Yeah. But we had to have the date changed from spring break till March. So, because the other school dropped out, and so they paired us with another school that's smaller. So there's a little bit of like you know what I mean, like upheaval if that occurs. And so we have to make sure that we get enough people signed up. If we can get 30 kids to go, the easier it is for us. So right now the max we've been able to fill out was like 15 or 17, right? The 8th graders are 15?
14, 15.
14,
Yeah,
14.
which is pretty
Parents
good.
don't count in that total.
They do,
But they do.
But-
Yeah, they do.
but you'd have to pay for your ticket too.
Right.
Yeah. So it's an additional cost for your family, but yeah.
It's only for one grade, I mean,
Well, right now, this is the plan, is 8th graders take a trip, and then we always offer a trip for high schoolers, and any age in high school could go. And then we do day trips for middle school. So we have a day trip that I don't want to say for sure I'm going because we may change the location, but we have a day trip planned just for 6th graders. We have a day trip planned just for 7th graders, and then a couple other little trips.
I see, so 8th
Yeah.
graders just like, it's just one.
This is kind of like the penultimate experience of 8th grade.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I will say though, Gina, I know you're wondering, but every 10 kids, there's a chaperone that's required. So I think, if we have enough numbers, a parent could go
that's true.
for free.
When we're big enough, we can have parents go. Yeah,
As long as there's a staff member.
I'll get everybody to sign up. So
That's
I can go
right.
there.
Yeah,
That's
as long
right.
as there's a admin going, and we have 10 kids, and there's an additional kiddo, we can add on another parent.
yes.
Could you plan something like business class or financial class for them, like how to manage money or something?
Well, so we do have a personal finance class. I'm not sure if it's on the docket to offer next year.
I think we.
It is? Okay, so we'll be offering personal finance for the high school students. And we are looking to I've got to look at it again. I don't know it off the top of my head of what courses we're going to offer, but Miss Ajekwe got this really special credential that means we qualify for money. And hers is specific in business. And so like she teaches econ and personal finance right now, and we're looking to try and implement some more classes to fill out a full business pathway for high schoolers in particular, but also dipping we'll offer some courses for middle school too. That's in the future. Don't quote me on what it will be for next year. I'd have to look it up again. But you always ask, this group always asks the best questions. What else you got? Yes, Ms. Brown.
Could you explain the difference between AP class and college classes?
Absolutely.
Because I realized that the college classes are just attached to Williams transcript, so they don't go on it.
They don't go on it unless it's it's a super satisfactory requirement. But even then, like, you can still attach the college transcript and it would be the same. Because college, they look at both. They would look at both transcripts.
So there's college classes that you can take, and then there's a concurrent and dual enrollment.
Yeah.
Concurrent and dual enrollment fulfill requirements for our school. So Will has done that. Yes, yes. So Will's done that, but he's also taken, as a lot of our high school students have taken additional courses to pursue their interests. Those come with and it just shows that he's pursued an interest. So that's something that often you might want to mention too on the brag sheet, on the college applications, which we'll talk about next year when he gets to be a senior. It's basically the resume. And then, but for AP classes, so basically, they do the same thing. They're the same function. Advanced placement classes and college classes both give you college credit, right? The assumption, though, is if you pass the college class, right? Now, there's two components of an AP exam, AP test, or AP course. There's the course, which is good on your transcript. It looks nice. You're taking an advanced level course at your high school. But then there's the test, and it's a 3-hour test. You have to pass both to get the full amount of that full value out of that advanced placement class. And passing an AP exam is 3 or higher. It's out of 5, 3 or higher. And you may have studied the whole year, aced all of your tests that were taken at the local teacher's classroom, but then it all comes down to a 3-hour test in advanced placement. Now, I feel like I'm spinning it as if it's really negative. It's not. You have to be really on your game to pass those tests, and it's a really good skill to be able to manage those tests. And each test is different, tests different skills and different knowledge bases. AP Chemistry is very different than AP English Language. Very functionally different. They test different things, and they're very different tests. And I think that ultimately, we want to produce 100%. That's our goal. It's hard to do, but our goal is to produce 100% of our juniors passing the AP English language test. I can't tell you, even at Whitney, which is the school I started from, which is one of the top performing high schools in California, they don't have 100% passage of their AP language test. So it's a hard goal, but that's our reach goal, right? But what AP English Language is, it mimics the freshman English class. And so that's something that's an indicator whether or not students are ready for college writing and reading. And so, but AP Chemistry, not every student should be taking AP Chemistry. It is one of the hardest ones. And it is, you need to be at advanced levels of science and math to be able to pass that test. And you probably need 2 preparation courses to be ready for it, not just an AP Chemistry course. And you can also take the test without taking the class too. It's not always recommended, and not all, I wouldn't, you would just need to let us know so we order the test for you. It's not something a lot of kids do, but some kids do. And if the school offers the course, you should take the course before you take the test. It's like a waste of effort otherwise. Why not just get prepared for the teacher? But you could legitimately there's a lot of people who self-study for things like music composition, stuff like that. So you just need to let us know ahead of time to take the test. And now the question is, which one's better for the student? It depends on where they're at. So a high school class that's advanced placement is geared to high school students, right? It's geared to their particular age level, and the teacher teaches to that age level and brings them up to pass the test. A college class is a college class. And the college professors, whether it's dual enrollment or not, will tell you they're on their own. I'm not going to answer your email or your email. I'm going to talk to the student. And so if they're not ready for that level of independence, then the advanced placement course might be better for them. But if they're ready for that independence, I mean, you and I have known, we're not giving them dual enrollment at Harvard. We're giving them dual enrollment at a community college. It's within their doable ability. They just may not be ready for it as a freshman. Does that make sense? So there's pros and cons. And we try and balance this too. We balance the two based upon what's right for the students at the time. But we offer advanced placement courses that we feel are generally ready for our students are generally ready for as a whole. So we offered AP Environmental Science and AP Psychology, both things that are don't need advanced studies in math and science to be able to pass. And last year we prepared a handful of kids that were ready for it for AP English Language. But for community college, we use the community college courses to really individualize their readiness. So we have kids taking everything from calculus to automotive sciences. So, yeah.
And if they were to take dual enrollment, then that would be different because the instructor comes to school here and teaches the course. So that way it would have to be on our transcript. But concurrent enrollment means that we have a partnership with the school where the student can take the class through that college.
Mhm.
Yeah, and we'll go over that too with registration night.
Good questions.
Make sure you get some coffee before you leave.
Yeah.
How many high school students do you have now?
30?
It's like 35, I think.
Okay. So we're still majority of a middle school, but I think the biggest thing that we were missing was our athletic program, which we're on week 3 of Coach D, Calvin Dickerson, and he's already made some great inroads in the athletic programs around in our area. Part of why we needed an athletic director is we needed someone to go in and be sort of our emissary to build relationships, because at a school this size, we're just not going to be able to field a CIF sports. But he's finding opportunities for our students to be able to play the sports that they want to. And we should be up and running with that in the next couple of months. And he's already started the paperwork on joining the middle school sports program. So that's in our area. So we'll be able to provide some actual middle school sports. And then we'll do one or two sports before the end of the school year, is the plan, and then have a summer program for sure. He's already got things booked, and this is just the week 3.
Is there a cost for that?
There is unfortunately always a cost to athletics. Oftentimes the hard part about athletics is that the coach is not just a coach, they're often a fundraiser. And so as we build our sports program, we're gonna wanna partner with PTSA, kind of have you take a look at what the costs are and see if we can lower those costs by individual students. And so that's the hardest part about being a coach for a high school sports, is that they oftentimes, if they want, the school will typically pay for things like coaching stipends and the bare base equipment, but typically everything else that they want has to be fundraised by the sport itself, because it's a big focus for us to have sports. Because the reality is we don't have a full-fledged school unless we have sports, both at the middle school and high school level.
How is that going with the facility? I know he doesn't tell you, but is there? I don't know. It's like chicken or the egg issue.
Yep.
And it's hard right now for to encourage families to really come join.
Yep.
And then there's the enrollment issue, right? So
Yes.
It's like how's that?
It's chicken and egg, yeah. Are we going to grow before we have a facility? I think that we are going to grow to a certain extent, and we are growing in the high school level. So there's this leadership video that went around about 5 years ago of this person dancing at a festival, and he's just dancing so weirdly. He's like super weird, and then all of a sudden someone joins him, and then another person joins him, then 3, and then all of a sudden this mass group of people join him. And I really feel like until we get a new facility, we will be those small increases at the high school level. And then once we get the facility, it will be a mass. But what we offer is huge for the college prep world and for the college prep student. It's a low stress, high rigor environment. And that is huge in the college prep industry, or industry in the school world. And so we have to use business terms, we have a niche that no one else has, especially in this area. There are people that are in this area that have bused their kids to Fullerton to go to Troy Tech, which is a high magnet college preparatory school. And we have the elements and the beginnings of that. There's some areas that we can grow in, but we're definitely ripe for we just have to get more awareness out. And we will fill this campus pretty easily. But I think in the next 2 years, we'll fill this campus. We can go to about 200, maybe 300 if I get really creative with PE. But right now we're about 104. And so then I think that when we get the new facility, and I can tell you that every day he's got something new on the line to work out, and he's got feelers out, at least 10 different feelers for both schools, and he's working on every line. He was telling me one idea, and I said, okay, that's pretty cool. And he goes, yeah, but that's plan Y. I'm like, okay, all right. And so we just don't like to publicize things ahead of time. But there is one thing that's coming down the pike that we'll know in the next couple of months whether that is going to pan out or not.
So you're thinking maybe like the time frame, like 2 years or 2, like.
I mean, if we could move tomorrow, we would move tomorrow. Yeah.
Or realistically, 2
Yeah.
years time frame to
Yeah.
kind of make that transition.
Right. Yeah. And then honestly, whenever we secure a facility, the question is what work has to be done to it before we move in. So if there's any refurbishment that has to happen, things like that. The funny thing is we've got the money.
I know. It's crazy. It drives me nuts.
We've got millions of dollars ready to fund a facility. It's just the land. We just need the land. So, yeah.
It's crazy because then like it's so hard to get like parents say, hey, come check out the school, and then they're like, well,
Yeah. But do you know what's fascinating though too
But
is
I had to tell them. I said, but the quality of education you get, it's like,
yeah.
It doesn't. It's like it kind of overshadows the.
Yes.
It doesn't matter the facility. But
Yeah. But you know what too? I think what I've realized last summer is what I needed to focus on this year is making the school look top of the line where we are at. And when we make that look top of the line, then they're willing to invest in us. Does that make sense? They see what we've done with what we've got. And so there's areas that we can, like we've started with the murals and those components and different little areas. And our classrooms are great. Like when Alcasa Elementary, unfortunately, their classrooms are in much worse shape than ours are. And and their facility floods all the time. It floods, like they call it Lego Casa in the middle playground area, and they have to shove out all the water every time it rains. But so of the two schools, that's why we don't complain as much when we're all together, because they're like, yeah, yours is nice. And that's also one of the reasons for this Saturday and the following Saturday. There are some stuff that we just need to straight up clean up, like we need to what we call Marie Kondo, that storage container, and then we can start putting the stuff that we have from the different projects that we've done inside that container, make it a little bit more organized. So we'd appreciate your guys' help with that. And then there's little aspects. That's why we've put the flags out. That's why we've put the banners out, and just little touches we're just trying to build in with our facility to make it look nicer a little bit nicer every month or so. So. And then it'll come. I mean,
You build it.
yeah, yes, totally.
Build it, decorate it.
Yes, it is hard to convince, and I think though when we take a tour, I just tell them straight out, I'm going to show you our weaknesses and our strengths, and you decide if we're the right place for you. And I can tell you that every time we're done, people come after the tour just like, that's not a problem. But once they come on a tour and it's the right fit for them, then absolutely.
Yeah,
And so,
I remember that tour last year when I came.
oh yes,
I talked to you, remember?
yes.
That was a cute little tour.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
And the best part I love is just pulling kids randomly, and I'm like, hey, I did it to Morgan one time.
He told me
And she was very nervous. I pull Will all the time and JJ all the time, and now I'm going to pull Alec. But he just doesn't happen to be walking when I'm walking with the tour. But I think I can talk forever, and Miss Lee is giving me the eyeball like, hey, it's already 9:30. Let's respect these people's time. So we'll officially end, and then but you can stay longer and ask questions. And thank you for listening in on our podcast.